Claude Louis Hector de Villars, Prince de Martigues, Marquis and Duc de Villars, Vicomte de Milan, May 8, 1653, June 17, 1734, was a general of Louis XIV of France, one of only 6 marshals who have been promoted to Marshal General of France. Early career: Villars was born at Mlins, in the present-day department of Villars, in a noble but poor family. His father was the diplomat Pierre de Villars. He entered the French army through the Corps of Pages in 1671. He distinguished himself at 20 in the siege of Maastricht in 1673 during the Franco-Dutch War, and after the bloody Battle of Senef a year later he was promoted on the field to Maître de Camp, colonel, of a cavalry regiment. The next promotion would take time in spite of a long record of service under Turenne, the Great Conde in Luxembourg, and of his aristocratic birth. The reason was that he had incurred the enmity of the powerful Villars. He was finally made Maréchal de Camp in 1687. In the interval between the Dutch wars and the formation of the League of Augsburg, Villars, who combined with his military gifts the tact and subtlety of the diplomatist, was employed in an unofficial mission to the court of Bavaria, and there became the constant companion of Maximilian II Emmanuel, Elector of Bavaria. He returned to France in 1690 and was given a command in the cavalry of the army in Flanders, but towards the end of the War of the Grand Alliance, in 1698, he went to Vienna as ambassador. War of the Spanish Succession: it was Villars' part in the next war, beginning with Ferdinand, 1702, and Hochstadt, 1703, and ending with Denain, 1712. That has made him most famous. Citation needed: for his part in the Battle of Ferdinand he received the Marshalate, and for the pacification of the insurgent Seven he received the Saint-Esprit Order and the title of Duke. Ferdinand and Hochstadt were barren victories, and the campaigns of which they formed were characterized by lost opportunities. Villars' glory thus begins with the year 1709, when France, apparently helpless, was roused to a great effort of self-defense by the stringent demands of the coalition. In that year he was called to command the main army opposing Prince Eugene of Savoy and Marlborough on the northern frontier. During the famine of the winter he shared the soldiers' miserable rations. When the campaign opened, the old Marshal Villars volunteered to serve under him, and after the terrible Battle of Malplaquet, in which he was gravely wounded, by a musket ball to the knee, he was able to tell the king, "If it please God to give your Majesty's enemies another such victory, they are ruined." 2 more campaigns passed without a battle and with scarcely any advance on the part of the invaders, but at last Marlborough maneuvered Villars out of the famous Ne-plus-ultra lines, and the power of the defense seemed to be broken. But Louis made a last effort. The English contingent and its great leader were withdrawn from the enemy's camp, and Villars, though still suffering from his Malplaquet wounds, outmaneuvered and decisively defeated Eugene at Denain. This victory saved France, though the war dragged on for another year on the Rhine, where Villars took Landau, led the stormers at Freiburg, negotiated the Treaty of Rastatt and the Treaty of Baden with Prince Eugene. Villars' residence, Villars, named for Marshal Villars, was built in Mlins, earlier during the reign of Louis XV. The 18th-century historical monument was used as a cavalry barracks. It was partially destroyed during World War II and was restored by François Voinchet, architect of historic monuments, and is now the Centre National du Costume de Scène Museum. Regency: Villars played a conspicuous part in the politics of the Regency period as the principal opponent of Cardinal Dubois, and only the memories of Montmorency's rebellion prevented his being made Constable of France. He took the field for the last time in the War of the Polish Succession, 1734, with the title Marshal General of the King's Armies, that Turenne had held before him. But he was over 80 years old at this point, and after opening the campaign energetically he died at Turin on June 17, 1734.